Welcome to Happy Hour Holidays, your go-to podcast for business, entrepreneurship, and life stories. We want you to go out there and fulfill your dream. Go out there and think about something that you really love to do and make it happen. Because if you love doing it, you're going to put 125% into it. I'm your host every single week, Manny Fresh. We got the resume, Sean Fabre. And in studio today, we got our special guest, Melissa Horne. She is a broker for Remax, and then she also is a digital marketer. So glad to have you on, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel blessed to be here.
I just love the accent because I love New York. I'm just like, man, yeah. I'm like, that hustle and bustle. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into digital, content creation and marketing. How did you get into that field?
So I've always been a marketer.
Right? And where from New York are you?
So I'm from Queens.
Oh.
I'm a Queens kid. I grew up in the boroughs. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 21 because
Holy cow, really?
No, because you took the train everywhere.
You don't need it, right?
You didn't need it. Yeah. And then I got a car when I was like 24 after that. And I proceeded to get 93 parking tickets. I had the car.
Well, that's why it's better to be public
100%.
transportation.
And then it was in an auto cocoon in my grandfather's driveway for like 2 years, and I went back to the train. So I effectively drive like a girl. Yeah. That's exactly what happened. But I'm from Queens. I grew up there. I moved a lot within Queens when I was a kid. I always was that kid that had a ton of potential, and I wasn't sure when it was going to come out. Yeah. And I finally came out when I discovered that real estate, just like you said, is what I wanted to do and where I was going to thrive the most. I was a bartender and a nightclub manager for many years before that. So I've always been in some aspect of marketing. And marketing truly is conversations, communication, relationships. And if you know how to maximize that, especially on a digital realm right now, you are just destined for success from there.
You were also a business owner. Do you want to talk about that business or not really?
Yes and no. So I've done a lot of things. So I was going to go to law school. I got pregnant when I was 29 years old. I couldn't be an effective mother and a nightclub manager at that point. So I had to figure out what am I going to do from here? So I went back to college as an adult. And thank God I did. I would have never done it the traditional way. It would have never, ever happened. All my professors were like my age. I went to the City University of New York in Staten Island, right? So all the kids are 18, and then the professors were my age in their 30s. I was like, I don't get these kids, but I get you. And when I found out what was happening is every class I went into and everything that I was experiencing in the course content would be something I could immediately apply to my life, and which happens in business too when you're a business owner as you're developing your skills and you're learning stuff. But up until that point, I was just managing nightclubs and bartending, which was great because I learned how to talk to anybody. I learned how to influence what I needed. I mean, there's nothing more than 5 a.m. drunk in downtown Manhattan that you really learn the depths of humanity, okay? And how to control them and get them out of your club or get them in your club, whatever.
They
whatever
were
you need
open
to
that
do.
late, 5 a.m.?
Yes. So bars are open till 4 a.m. in New York.
Shit.
Last call is 10 to 4. The places that I worked, you would mostly have the staff ordering 4 hours of drinks at 10 to 4 in the morning so that we can stay and then move to an after hours. Yeah. So our kitchen was open until 5 a.m. So we would have a lot of people leaving the bars come in. So we had a really strong hour, that 4 to 5 on Friday and Saturday nights. Yes. So all walks of life. Downtown Manhattan is the hub of the universe.
That's where it was too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So it was the Comedy Cellar on McDougal Street. They still have the best shows in all of Manhattan.
Is that by like Central Park? Or?
No, that's downtown. So Central Park is Upper Midtown, like 59th Street. And then downtown is really anything under 14th Street. And this was in the Village. So we were by West 4th Street. So all of the the next door was Cafe Wah, like Dylan, Hendrix, like all the 60s beatniks all hung out in the Village. The owner of my club was Manny Dorman. His son now, Noam Dorman, owns it. And they are probably two of the most creative, influential businessmen. And to learn from them was probably my first course in real life, like what you can build. Empire. They have built an empire down there. Every comedian that you know now that's famous came up in the Comedy Cellar. Kevin Hart, Oh my God, I can't even. When I was there,
That's their club, the Comedy Cellar.
That's where they came up. So yeah, absolutely. Any guys that are showcasing to get to that level start in these New York clubs, and they do sets through the whole weekends and during the week, and they run from club to club to club. Agents scout from there, and they move up and become these icons in acting and comedy. It's pretty amazing.
I always like to ask, why Florida? Why'd you decide to move to Florida?
I came kicking and screaming, kiddo. Like this was not on my list.
Choice?
Yeah, it was not my choice. So that goes to the second business. Yeah. So at the time, before I got my real estate license, I just moved to Philly. My father passed away. My mother I was the last one left in New York. My mom moved to Jersey. My brother moved to Pennsylvania. And my dad passed away. And I was the last one left in New York. I was already going to the College of Staten Island, which is really like the armpit of New Jersey, Staten Island. Yeah. Like everybody goes Brooklyn, Staten Island, Jersey. And everyone from Queens goes to Long Island, right? So that's just migration out of the city are those two directions. And in Staten Island, I was closer to get to my mom and my brother. If I moved to Philadelphia, which was a city, I couldn't. My mom's in the sticks, my brother's in the sticks, and I wasn't ready for that yet. So I was like, all right, if I move to Philly, I'm closer to them. I could still get back to Staten Island to finish my classes. I only had 2 years left. So I only had 2 years left at that time. It was a lot of driving when I made that move. And I wanted to go to law school. So as an adult, who wants to go into debt for $300,000?
Nobody, you know what I mean? Unless you're buying a piece of property.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I still was like, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? I reconnected with an old friend that we started dating, and he was still in New York, and he moved to Philly, and he said, we can't live here. I left Queens so I don't have to live like a cockroach. Like now you have me here. I can't even. He had a big Ram truck, and you had to like really like stick into parking spots. Like I can't even park my truck here. And they call it parking. And then he sounds like that. Like imagine like Joe Pesci. Yeah. So
like same height too.
Yes, Timmy and I are the same height. He's going on. He's got half a bald head, big belly, can't see his feet. Yes, I wouldn't have picked him out from a crowd, but I was totally in love with him. I still love him. He's still my best friend. We're not together anymore. I still love him. He's a great dad, but he definitely, just keep that in your mind. That's exactly who he is. So he wanted to go back to New York, but he didn't want to go back to Queens. He wanted to go to Long Island. And he's like, well, if you want to stay together, you have to rent this house and we'll move back to New York. And I was like, ew, no, like, I don't want to go to Long Island. Like, at least let's go back into the city. Like, the whole thing was for me not to move to the sticks with my brother and my mother. Now you're asking me to move to the sticks of Long Island. He's like, you're acting like I'm asking you to go to the moon. I'm asking you to come home. Like, just come home. And I was like, fine. I'm in love. I'll go anywhere. And then part two of the ask was, well, you're not going to stay and go to law school, right? And I'm like, yeah, no, I still want to go to law school. I'll find something. I'll go into the city. I wanted to go to Columbia. That was second choice. Columbia is an Ivy League law school. Yeah. So if I didn't get a scholarship, there was no law school really in the future because I wasn't allowed I wasn't allowed. Not that I wasn't allowed. I didn't want to take out that kind of student loan. I already had student loans from undergrad. So there was still, even though it was a city university, it was still significant as an adult. So you did
get your bachelor's degree?
I went back and I got my bachelor's. And that's what I was doing.
What was it in?
Marketing and English creative writing.
That makes sense.
Yep. So I had a dual degree. I was able to, I had no idea I was smart. I know I keep going in different tangents. Yeah. I was the epitome of a Queens kid, right? I bounced at clubs. Yeah. I bounced 2 clubs. I wasn't the bouncer. So that my whole life from when I was 15, 16 years old was like, hit the clubs, go to the parties. Naturally, I got myself a job where it was a party every single night. Until I got pregnant with my son and had my child at 29, 3 months before my 30th birthday, I had never changed a diaper. I didn't have friends with kids. It was very, now I was in charge of feeding and caring for a human being, which was, I hardly cared for myself. I got home, I rehydrated, I went back out. Like that was it. So it was a very, very different life to be a mother. And when I realized that I wasn't going to law school and I wasn't going to do my whole life the way it was, I'm almost forgot. There's like 4 different lifetimes, guys.
Yeah.
4 different lifetimes in Melissa, and every single one was a big growth thing. So part 2, that's where I was getting at, was now I'm not going to law school. I had a measly $35,000 in my savings. Like everything I had at 35 years old was that. My house in Philly, which I was able to get, from hard work and bustling up until that point.
Like you had bought that house.
I bought that house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then he wanted to open a dumpster company. And he said,
now, dumpster truck or just dumpsters?
Dumpsters and roll-off trucks. Right?
Those are great. I mean, it's a great business. I mean, here in Florida, it's a great business.
Like they just put the dumpster in front of
they
a house.
fill them up.
And they fill them up. So yes, it's in New York though, and I learned the different. I think it's different now. It's been many years. Like we left, we didn't lose the company. We sold the company in 2017. He'll say, I hear that it's a loss all the time.
Yeah.
I think it was a blessing, but that's where we disagree on that business. So it was very expensive in New York, especially in Long Island. When we grew out of owner-operator. So we started with the 1 trunk and 5 dumpsters, which was all of that $35,000 for 1 trunk. And that
kind of sounds like a deal for just $35K.
Okay, you and Timmy would be best friends, okay? Yes.
Because you were able to get a truck and 5 dumpsters?
Yes. But then you have to get the business, and then you have to get the licensing, and then the other stuff. You need every town. Now, this goes back to your question earlier. Long Island operates in counties also. So there's Nassau and Suffolk County. And then inside each county is a municipality. And each municipality has its own local government. So there's no executive government. Each one has, so each municipality requires its own license, its own taxation, its own blah, blah, blah. Now, New York City, the 5 boroughs, had Giuliani at one time that implemented, his fight against the mob at the time that he was there was huge. But what he did was he developed something called the BIC. I think it was, if I remember correctly, Business Integrity Commission, which basically took the powers of the mob and put it in the city. Basically, you pay us and you get to operate here through the city, right? The BIC license was over $30,000 a year at the time. So then once you take on employees, you also have the employment tax. So just to operate with the licensing was close to $100,000 a year.
That's before you can even do anything.
Yes. And then you have to, workman's comp. And then now Timmy was owner operator for a while. So we were able until we grew. But once you grow, we can't just run 1 truck, and every truck you have to have a driver. And we're also non-union, and union drivers get paid $250 an hour, a day, or whatever it was at the time. It was hard to get a driver that was good and diligent when he could have a union job, which meant we get the scrap of the earth for our drivers that,
because union jobs, they get pensions at the end of
They get everything, and you can't
So
really
then why
with that.
work for,
Yeah, so we would get the guys.
They really incentivize employees to screw off small businesses in New York, sounds like.
It was very, and then you had the component that I probably shouldn't even talk about, but there's a component that there are businesses that don't like the small businesses to come up. So there's a lot of anger there, and a lot of contracts you couldn't get. Like, it was really impossible to. Now, I would find creative things. This is where my marketing would come in. So roof rips were a great source of income because we weren't roofers, but the roofers or the contractors would hire us to rip the roof off before the roofers came. But that was a really heavy dumpster. That was also the difference with Florida and New York. It cost retarded money per ton to dump, depending on what was in there for the landfills in New York.
Oh, because you guys pick it up and you have to dump it.
Yeah, and you have to pay for the dump. Here, in my county, when we were thinking about doing it here, at that time, the dumps were free, depending on where you lived and what you were dumping. Well, roofing material was...
Are we talking like shingles, tar paper?
Yeah.
Not the plywood?
No, just this, because that had to be separate.
Yeah.
So that would be a huge cost. So we built that in the cost for the dumpster. Instead of charging per dumpster, we would charge per roof rip, and we knew what the cost would be to dump, and we'd make money. Well, then I found this place in Mount Vernon that was taking recycled roof stuff, right? And they were turning it into asphalt to do the streets. Oh, wow. And I was like, all we got to do is get these dumpsters to Mount Vernon, New Jersey. And if we can get it there, we're going to get paid for our dumps. Not only are we going to make the money from the rip, we just have to figure out what the cost is to get to Jersey, and then we can get more money for these rips.
Damn, that's fucking smart.
Yeah, so we were finding all these really cool things, except you have to pay to drive through the city for the BIC. Not even if you, because I thought.
So even if you're not doing business in New York and you're just driving through New York.
Yes. If you didn't have the numbers on your truck saying that you had the license and you got pulled over, now you got a ticket with the DOT.
This sounds counterproductive for any business.
For trucking, yes.
Well, shit, yeah.
In my opinion, yes. Yeah. So, and then, as we grew.
How much would they pay you anyways for the asphalt? Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well,
that was so many years ago. Was it
significant enough to?
It was significant enough to try, but not significant enough to get the licensing we need to go through the city because.
So then you drive around it.
You can't drive around. You're surrounded by water, all that. So you have to go through. You have to go over 2 bridges to get from Long Island to New Jersey. So it was, or a tunnel, which you couldn't really go. It was too much, and I was getting exhausted. And what was happening is Tim was grow, and such a great salesman and such a natural connector and something that he loved the trucks. What was happening to me is I was hating the trucks. Now I'm hating the trucks. I hate this. This is awful. We painted. Then he wanted to get into the garbage. So I was like, all right, how are we going to make this garbage truck fun? Painted the garbage truck pink. And we did a campaign called Real Men Wear Pink. And we collected, because that was another way to make money. If you collected cardboard and recyclables, you can get paid to bring that. So I dedicated the whole truck to collecting recyclables so we could try to get money in from that with this big, giant pink truck that was driving around Long Island. It was great. But there was only so many fun things you could do because we had older trucks, and then it would get cold, and then everybody's in the yard at 5 o'clock in the morning with air torches trying to get the air brakes to work and all that. Yeah. So it became more and more of a, I hate this, I hate you, then you would have to change like dumpster diving, right? Like that was not law school dumpster diving. If they put the wrong shit in the box, you had to go into the box and separate it. Like other bigger companies could dump them out and had people that would do it or a machine that would do it. Small companies don't have that. Small companies have Melissa and a 6-year-old kid jumping in the dumpsters, pulling this out, putting this and that. And if you have the wrong, like if they decide to dump your box at the yard to check it and you got the wrong stuff in it, you go like a gum wrapper in a construction debris box is like a no-no. And if you had anything in busy areas and people are, walking past and they dump their water bottle in there or the garbage from their car or whatever.
I didn't even think about that.
All of a sudden, it's not construction debris anymore. And if they can see it or they ask you to dump it, now you have this big, huge expense and things like that started happening. So I said, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. You have fun with your company.
You said out completely, like out relationship, out and...
Well, it kind of got to that. Like, yeah, right? No. Yeah, well, we eventually got back together and had a baby. But at that point, when the sauce was hot, and we were like, no, I hate you. I hate the truck. I hate all of it. And it was 2 years of bad. And in that 2 years...
Yeah, but you were making money, I'm assuming.
We would make money and then make no money. It was like feast or famine. And the roller coaster... I couldn't find, and he couldn't find, certainly not together could we find the wave that was successful. There were a lot of other smaller companies that were very competitive. So you would be going in for multiple bids for these contractors who, of course, wanted the lowest price. Then there were companies that weren't, like when you were here, it was easy to get the work and make it maintained because your bills weren't here yet, right? Yeah. And then as you grow and your overhead gets higher, you can't take those smaller jobs at that same price anymore. And now these new companies are coming in and you'd get underbid, right? And everybody, so it was a constant roller coaster of seeing, we got stuck in that middle of, if we grow, we're not going to eat. And if we go down, we're not going to be able to grow. And we couldn't get out of that spot. And because
What was your yearly revenue, if you don't mind sharing?
it never operated, it would be monthly good and then yearly loss. And after
Was it
2
over
years,
$1 million in revenue?
No, not where we got with that company. No. And that's where I was getting sick. Like we would be so close. And then the tickets would come in. And then the bills for the municipalities would come in. And I was really...
Well, I'm talking about just revenue, not profit, just revenue.
I'd say it was about $40,000 a month. So that's that's not... Mm-mm. It wasn't worth, see what I'm saying? It wasn't worth it for the headache. And Timmy and I had very different visions. So we couldn't even get it together to get to something that amazing, right? And I hated it. So without one piece of the puzzle, it wasn't.
And you were probably working like fucking 120 hours a week.
I went back to a bar to bartend on the weekends so that I can, make sure everything was running smooth. So yes, the relationship ended, the company ended. Melissa Horne got her real estate license at the end of the story.
But not in New York, though.
In New York.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So,
and you also mentioned another guy, Vinny.
Yes. That's what happened. So I got my real estate license, and I thought all of these contractors that I built a relationship with the dumpsters were going to use me as their realtor. And they were like, oh no, you are the dumpster girl. We have the realtor girl over here. She knows asset managers. She knows how to find the properties that we want to flip. All the things I didn't think about, because you don't really have to do a lot to get your real estate license, right? You just show up in the class and they teach you stuff you never need for your business. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to find the company that has the best split. I'm going to get all these contractors. I'm going to, get us back on our feet. Timmy's going to go over there and die with his truck and everything's going to be fine. And my contractors are all like, no, you don't know enough. You don't have the contacts. You don't have any of this that we need. We can't use you. And so now I was like,
hold that thought right there, Melissa. When we get back with Happy Hour Holidays, we'll continue the fascinating story with Melissa Horne. I'm enjoying myself. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be right back. And we're back with Happy Hour Holidays, and we're really fascinated with the Melissa Horne story over here. I am fucking loving it.
So Melissa, a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster, but it's so damn entertaining. And we were just getting to the point, Melissa, where, okay, you got your real estate license. You're thinking, all right, I'm going to get all these contractors. They're going to use me. And then all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck?
No, they're like, nope, it's not going to happen. So there was this guy who was interested in possibly partnering for a contracting company.
When you say contractor, are you talking like a GC?
Oh, mm-hmm. Okay. So he was a general contractor out in Long Island. He knew about me from the dumpster company. He knew that I had just gotten my real estate license. He knew, and again, just like kind of like the reason why I'm starting to put myself out there more. It's time I was ready for the change. I wasn't exactly sure of the direction. I know. I'm like, I'm a squirreler, right? Like, let's do this. And then after I pile all the shit on me, I'm like, okay, now I need to make a decision on what direction is going to be the most sick. So sometimes you make good decisions, sometimes you make bad decisions. Well, this decision to sit in this room with this guy who called himself Uncle John to be part of this business was a really bad decision when I got there. So I quickly realized that the person likely was not interested in partnering with me. He was more interested in getting a name on his company so he could file for a WBO, which is a women-owned business, right? And basically he was looking for somebody stupid that was going to put their name on something and really
not Melissa.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if this is thanks Uncle John. I should have known. And he was like, call me Uncle John, that it was going to be some kind of craziness. However, during this meeting, a man came in to meet with him for a real estate deal whose name was Vinny Martino. And Vinny got like the tail end of the conversation with me and Uncle John. And, when I'm thanking him, but no thanking him. And like, I'm a real estate agent and I'm going to really concentrate on that. And I'd love to do business with you in that capacity at any time. So this Vinny goes, so you're a real estate agent? And I said, I am. I'm licensed. I'm with ABC Company and I'm, ready to go. And he's like, well, tell me how you market yourself. And I'm a brand new agent, okay? And I only know what to regurgitate. And I got my CRM and I made these pretty flyers and I put everybody I know into this CRM and I'm sending them emails and I'm knocking on their doors and I'm doing all that stuff that they tell you to do. And Vinny's just going, okay, all right. So what, have you written a contract yet? And I was like, no, not yet. I'm still getting it together. Okay, so when you get the contract, what are you going to do? I didn't think of that part. Like, what the fuck am I going to do? I was like, I'll figure it out, I got this great brokerage behind me. Oh, if they trained you how to write a contract, do you know how to write an offer?
I'm like, did they?
No, they didn't tell you any of that in real estate class.
They don't tell you anything. When you do the real estate class, it's like some of the on-job duties. I mean, you don't even, you get a contract and you're like, the hell is this?
Yeah. I'm like, what do I know? And now, but I feel still like you can't even, when you're getting asked direct questions and you don't have an answer, like now I feel stupid. Yeah. I'm like, and he's smiling, he's all smug, like he knows I don't know the answer. And I'm like, oh, I gotta get out of here, I'm gonna go. And he's like, why don't you give me your number? I think we can talk about, getting something going for you. And first I'm like, I'm excited, but I feel stupid. I don't know how you guys are.
And this is in Long Island.
This is in Long Island, right? And now I'm feeling my confidence is hurt. So I'm like, all right, I just got to get out of this room right now, So I gave him my number. I didn't take his number and I ran out. And then he called me a couple days later and he's like, hey, this is Vinny. We met at John's house and I'd really love to talk to you about coming to work with me in real estate. And I was like, now I'm confident again because I'm behind the phone. I'm not in his face. So I'm good. I got it together. I'm working on all my stuff. And he started asking me the questions again. But now you're a little tougher, right? When you're behind a phone or a keyboard. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. I got this great split. I mean, why would I go work under somebody else? And that's when he said to me, he said, yeah, well, you really didn't write a contract yet, right? And I was like, no. He goes, 0% is zero, still zero, right? And that's when he started calling me Horne. He calls me Horne. And he goes, Horne! Now that he loves me and knows me, that's where it went to. It's the most ridiculous sound in the whole world. And he's the only one who does it, but I know it's him when I hear it. Or I say, he'll type it out too. He'll be like, Horne, H-O-R-N, all the way down. So anyway, he's like, 0% is zero, still zero. How long are you going to do this? Now, he didn't know too much about me, but I was like, how long am I going to do this? Like, I'm almost shit out of money. Like, I had my house in Philly rented. The company's tanking even more. Me and Timmy are fighting. I'm getting ready to move out. Like, there's really, like, I'm almost dead and stinking, right? Of course, I'm not going to say that to him, but I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't want to work for this guy, but how do I connect with him and make something out of nothing? And
was he like much older than you? Or something?
No, he's the same age as me. In fact, I might be a year older than him. I'm not really sure, but I'm definitely better looking than him. But I said it to him.
Vinny Martinez sounds like a fucking name from a movie too.
Like an Italian mafia.
No, he was the best. We had the best team. Vinny, I adore you. You're the best mentor, and I still give you all the props for making me who I am, always. But very funny. Very, very funny. So I said no. And he continued to
Second time,
me.
Right?
That's the second time I said no. He called me every single Sunday with his FSBOs and prospected me. He said the same thing. Like, I became a script for him.
So what do you do? Give you the FSBOs and then said, hey, close them.
Oh, no. He would be calling his FSBOs. Because he was a prospector and a top producing real estate agent. Yeah. And I didn't realize till much later that his Sunday call time was calling FSBOs, and I got into the FSBO list. So while he was trying to get his listings, I was on that list. And he would call me every Sunday as if I were a FSBO to try to close me to come work for him.
And for those of you who do not know, FSBO is for sale by owner.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So he was training me without training me at that point. And finally, after about, I'd say probably 6 months, I finally agreed to go meet him. And you know how he got me to go meet him?
Damn.
He was getting, he was, and I was out of money.
Talk about a persistent fellow.
Consistency, all the lessons I got from him is everything it takes to be a phenomenal entrepreneur, period. Vinny is now in construction, and he is a top remodeler in Long Island and has translated his skills and his consistency and persistency into his contracting and has moved out of real estate. And makes these beautiful, beautiful remodels all over Long Island now. But how he got me to finally meet him, because he was getting to know me and getting to understand my needs and my want. He was selling me. You know what I mean? That's
kind of sounded like it was a little bit more than just a professional relationship.
Not at all. No.
Is what he wanted is all I'm saying.
No, not at, I promise you, not at all. No. He was a happily married man. I asked him that many years later, but not in that way. Yeah. I said, why did you bother chasing me for so long? He told me, because I knew you had talent. And I knew for what I wanted to do, I needed you to get me for my next spot. And when I called him crying, that's how I couldn't find an assistant. I'm like, I can't get an assistant to stay. Nobody wants to work. Everybody's an asshole. I don't understand. Why did you bother me for so long? He's like, because you had talent. He goes, and I knew for where I wanted to go. He wanted to build a team. He wanted to become a recognized team in accolades in this marketplace. He wanted to break into the Hamptons market, which is big money. He wanted to start this construction company always as a secondary business, not moving out of real estate. He wanted to take everything that he grew in real estate and make it bigger. And he felt from meeting me that one time in Uncle John's kitchen that I was the person that was going to do this for him. And then he proceeded to tell me when I asked him that whoever you find, when they have talent, they're going to leave you. So I knew you were going to leave me. So I had a limited time to get what I needed out of you, to get my business where it wanted to be before you realized you were great and left.
Damn, he's a smart guy.
Yeah. And I was eye-opening because I'm still waiting for this invisible assistant to show up and help me and then outgrow me and then leave me and I would be in the next level, but I haven't found her yet. But yeah, it wasn't anything funny. It was true. But that's how far I've come, right? I didn't see that talent in me. I didn't have that confidence in me. And it took him to discover it. And my nose is running. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. You want me to get you a tissue? Or?
No, I'm okay. But it took, let me take a second and go back to that thought. Yeah, I need a tissue.
We'll step out real quick.
Sorry. Oh my God. I've never had allergies before. And now they just came. I love the bowl.
Yeah. Bullish stock market.
Yes.
And then you got the Monopoly man behind you.
That's pretty sick. I like him. With the machine gun. Oh, thank you. Perfect.
Yeah, because he's running monopolies and killing some people.
She was talking about the 6 month. Is that
6 months of calling?
Yeah, the call. But then when you got.
So I'm gonna get up to when he got me. Back to the Future. I forgot where it was. The talent. Oh. So yeah, I'm still waiting for my invisible assistant that's gonna come and have talent and then leave. Well, with Vinny, he finally got me to meet him because he said, just come meet me. We won't even talk about it anymore. I want to show you something. You know the Juicy house from the Biggie video? And I was like, yeah. The song Juicy, where they're all his first hit, and they're all in the pool, and it
was all a dream.
Yes.
I used to read. Yeah.
Yes. Well, he had the listing for the Juicy house, and he called me, and he's like, "Do you want to see the Juicy house?" I was like, "Yeah." and he's like, "Well, I want to hear your ideas on how you would market this house because they are just, they're renovating it. They want to add a staircase." I know you're not interested in working with me, but I think you have some really good marketing ideas. Let's go walk the house. I'll show you what we're doing to it and tell me what you would do. And I was like, it had this big giant catwalk because you only see like the outside from the video. And it had this big, long, giant catwalk when you walked in. And I'm like, we're going to do pop-up stores for all hip-hop designers up here. We're going to get every B-list artist that's just starting to, record and get everything. We're going to get them all here, and we're going to make it like a talent showcase. So we'll get anybody. We can see if we can get Biggie Skies or anybody from Puffy at that time, It's a whole nother thing. Anybody we can get from
she went to a white party.
Yeah, like anything. I wasn't at one of those parties. But anything we can get to get the music guys in here that want to touch something Biggie touched. Yeah. And then we'll get all of the producers to come walk through the house.
What year was this?
This was 2015.
Oh shit! Recently.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it was, which is long past, the song coming out. But why not bank on that? You know what I mean? And then there were the real estate parts of that house that was spectacular. The gentleman that designed it, the architect, is, he was I don't remember his name, sorry, but he was a sought after architect. And part of the deal of the sale is that the footprint of the house really couldn't be changed because this was like his baby. It was in the highest part of not Amagansett, like Sag Harbor. I forgot what part of Long Island, but where it was on the top of a hill, so you could see a lot of the water, both on the Long Island Sound and the Atlantic. I mean, there were a lot of spectacular things about this $1 million Hamptons property.
God, she makes me want to buy it.
Yeah, it was spectacular, and just for the experience, and that he promised he wasn't going to try to make me go work for him again. I went. Well, it was snowing, and we wound up in a ditch, and we went to a restaurant to, cool off. I mean, not be freezing. Yeah. And we started talking. And at that point, he was a very smart businessman. What happened in retrospect is we were able to build rapport. I wasn't on the defense about not going to work to him. We were sharing ideas about this house. He was talking to me more about what his vision was for his company and who he needed for a good fit. It wasn't about me anymore. It was about who this fit would be.
Was he a broker at the time?
He was with Douglas Elliman. So what that means when you have a broker's license and versus an associate's license, a salesperson's license, basically you took an extra course, right? And you learned how to learn some business stuff. What the benefit?
Like, I'm just trying to figure out what he was.
He owned his team.
His team. So he was a real estate agent with the team.
He was a real estate agent building a team at the time he met me.
And he wanted you on his team.
He wanted me on his team as his marketing director and his buyer's agent. And his vision, and this was all foreign to me because I didn't understand how it worked. Like you asked me earlier why I didn't want to just be a broker myself. Because,
off camera. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Because the liability is so great with the people. The broker's license is really overseeing all the other licenses. So if I hire somebody,
but if you own a team and you own a team as a real estate agent, the broker's the one that takes all the liability, not the real estate agent leader.
So why would you open a brokerage? Right?
Only for the commission split.
Yeah, so you don't have to pay your broker any money.
But there's so many ways.
Unless you have a cap and you're okay with saying like KW does $21,000. Once you cap out, they don't take any more, right?
It's a business decision based on what you negotiate in every instance with your broker. There's a lot of things like I'm comfy where I am.
Was he still letting you try to close your own deals while you were also marketing director?
Yes. So but we grew together. Like he had a vision, and then always with every business, right? You have a vision and then you adapt to make it work best. So I came in as the marketing director and buyer's agent, right? There were certain hours that I had to dedicate to marketing, making the phone ring, making sure that our brand was being, seen. He would do agent attraction. He had a transaction coordinator at the time who was also doing sales. So really, when I came on, it was Adrian, Vinny, and I. Then Elena came on, and then Vinny just did his thing, and we did our thing. And my job was make the phone ring. Here's the budget. Figure out what works, make the phone ring, and sell as much as you can. But make sure you're here to do the marketing.
What was the budget, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
When we started, the budget was only, I think, $2,500. By the time I left, the budget was up to $10,000.
Which goes to show you guys out there that you have to spend money to make money.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And when I moved to Florida.
And when you say $10,000, you mean per month.
Yeah.
Per month.
Per month.
That's $120,000 right there.
Yeah.
To generate more volume in real estate sales.
Yes. And in the scheme of real estate, bigger teams, and this was before the whole content, digital marketing, pay-per-click became big, right? This is like 2015. 2016, so it wasn't like that. There are teams today, big top-producing teams that exceed $200,000 a month in their budget. Yep. That's not my trajectory. I don't want to.
Not yet. Not yet, Melissa.
I love real estate, But I see Melissa's future in multifamily syndication deals. I want to do more commercial than residential. And that's where I'm spending my time to grow right now in skill set. Residential real estate, I wanted to build a team. I wanted to build it out I studied all those people. I think they're phenomenal. But I'm not willing at this point. You're right. Maybe in the future, I'll never say never because things change. You're absolutely right. I'm taking it back now. But I'm not willing to take out of my production to be an effective leader.
Yeah, I understand.
And if my name is attached to it, I want to make sure my team has the same values and goals and to work with the same integrity that I work with. And I have yet to meet people that are willing to do that outside of their own business. I have very talented associates, but they're doing their thing. They're not trying to partner,
So we're still in New York right now. We're still in Long Island.
Still in New York, yeah.
You still haven't left Vinny.
No.
I think you were getting to that part.
Yeah, so then I left Vinny. So me and Vinny built this beautiful I helped build this big magical team. And then I got pregnant again, the second time. 11 years later. Don't do that. So
was it still the same guy, Timmy?
No, Timmy has raised my first son. No, it was Timmy. My first child is not Timmy's biological son, but Timmy adopted him, and Timmy is his father.
Oh, good man.
Yeah, he's amazing. And even with all the bullshit, Timmy is an amazing dad and a great partner for somebody else. And our second child together, I got pregnant. Vinny was heartbroken that I needed a maternity leave. So what he did is he gave me the big office so I can come in with the baby and only take 2 weeks off. And he would take the little office, and he made a mock nursery for me to come back to work with my newborn child. And then Timmy decided he wanted to go to Florida. And it was right now. So we had friends in Brevard County that we would go visit at Easter time. And it was coming up in Easter 2017. It was the year the Easter was really late in like April, like end of March, beginning of April. And we went down for Easter. And at Easter dinner, he got offered a job. And he needed to be moved by June 5th. And it was already mid-April. So he still had the trucks. I had my real estate stuff going on. And he's like, I'm going to take the job. We're going to Florida. And I'm like, oh, fuck no, we're not. I was like, I don't even know where it is. I don't have a license there. I just was, breaking into a bigger market in Long Island that was a higher price point. I'm like, I'm on fire right now. Like I can't leave my business. I just built this in the last 3 years. And he got the job and he went. And I got to sell the trucks, keep my business with a 5-month-old baby. It was fucking fantastic. But I didn't want to come. And
when we get back with Happy Hour Holidays, we'll continue the Melissa Horne story. We're loving it. Like, comment, and subscribe. All right, guys, welcome back to Happy Hour Holidays with the Melissa Horne story that's been freaking intriguing as hell. And now they're coming down to the place that I call paradise, but she would have rather been in New York for sure.
100%.
So now Timmy's taking the job in Florida. Mm-hmm. And you're selling off all the assets for the business and about to make the transition.
Yes. So I'm about to make the transition. We're getting rid of all the trucks. Timmy started his job. He got to get a Cocoa Beach condo with my dog. He got to take the dog and be on the beach. And he's whining about how he misses us. I was like, shit, give me my dog back, man. You stay down there. So we did fly down for Father's Day so I could see my dog and he could see his boys. Nice. and then reality hit because I hadn't come down. So he came June, Father's Day's mid-June. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do here? My license is in New York. It's not a reciprocal state in Florida.
Interesting.
So I had to do, and that's why I got my broker's license, because I had the option to do a broker or salesperson in Florida with my, what I've completed in New York. And I was like, well, I'm just going to take my broker's license because otherwise I would have had to wait 2 years to reestablish my sales to do another broker class. So that was the smartest thing that I did for the move. I started shopping brokers who I wanted to work for and be associated with because Douglas Elliman was not north. I don't even think they still are north of Jupiter. And that's who I was with in New York. And I didn't know that I wanted to be with Douglas Elliman because really I was with Vinny. And I've never, maybe 4 or 5 times actually went into the Douglas Elliman office. We had a satellite office. We functioned our marketing was pretty, what's the right word? We used what we had to of Douglas Elliman, but we had our own logos. We had our own marketing systems. We didn't need our own branding, and we also had our own systems. And that's something that I really took from Vinny when I started my own business here as a solo agent. I don't use anything my brokerage gives me as far as a CRM or their marketing. I've developed all my own, and I just follow the rules of what my broker information has to be on my marketing.
It's not necessary. I mean, the broker is just there to hang your license. After that, run wild.
Yeah, and so that's it.
Why couldn't you just branch, what'd you call it, Douglas?
Elliman.
Why couldn't you just open a secondary office where you were the leader of it and still be under Vinny?
We probably could have done something like that. My breakup with the Martino team wasn't as clean as I wanted it to be. He was very, very gracious in getting me back to the office when Donnie was, and this was only 5 months after. So now I was pregnant for nearly a year. I only took a couple of weeks off, so he would give me the big office, and now I'm telling him I'm leaving. Damn. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't
not your fault. Yeah,
not my fault, but it wasn't timing for everybody else's time. It wasn't timing for me. I didn't want to go, like Timmy, but it was the right move for our family, for him giving up that company that he wanted to save so badly. I couldn't ever ask anybody, especially the father of my child, to go work for a competitor or a client or, basically put his tail between his legs when he had this great opportunity. Like he got a great opportunity with this company.
What was it, by the way, the opportunity?
Construction manager with the builder in Central Florida. Okay. So he...
For a residential builder?
Residential. Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. Huge from where he was coming from at our age. He always wanted to be in Florida. It was the right thing to do. I can get my license anywhere. And the cost of living in Central Florida is so much less than the cost of living in New York. I could fly up. I could probably see my mother and my brother more. This was my logic. In 2 hours, I could be on a plane ride with an hour on either end. So within 4 hours, I don't have to drive, and I could be at my mother or my brother. When it would take 5 hours in traffic to get from Long Island to New Jersey.
You're shitting me
now. Not even kidding. So why? And I could fly up more often. I was only seeing them on holidays anyway, so it was silly not to try to make it work. Well, then I got here. And I was like, where the fuck did you put me? I was like, there's giant
you
oak
said
trees.
Cocoa Beach, right?
Well, that's where he was staying. That's not where we were living. So it was, Vieira. So Melbourne.
Vero Beach?
No, Vieira is in Melbourne. Okay. And it's one of the top 10 PUDs in the nation. Vieira Builders has more money than God, which I've learned now to piggyback off their marketing. It's a plans unit development. So Vieira Builders owns like massive lands well out of just Brevard County into Central Florida. And they have built all these really beautiful high-end subdivisions through the Melbourne area. And the deal was for my older son, because they moved him so much in his 11 years up to that point, that if you're going to make me move to Florida, I want to know that we're not going to move out of the same area, that I can go through the junior high school and high school with all the same kids. And I owed him that, because before Timmy and during Timmy, there was a lot of turmoil and a lot of moving. Donnie was only 5 months old, like I said, when we got here, and that would keep Donnie established at least through the beginning of elementary. The A+ schools in a cushy neighborhood, it's very soccer mom, very not my style. But, that's, I had to give to, right? So I couldn't be like, what do you mean? I can never go on the train. I can't go to the city. I couldn't be a crybaby because I needed to be part of the family.
Wait, you can still go on a train.
Yeah, the choo-choo
doesn't
even stop. It goes right through my county. It doesn't stop there. No, it stops in Orlando and Miami. They need to make a stop there. They're talking about it.
And it goes all the way up to New York, if I'm not mistaken.
I did the auto train coming down because I wasn't going to drive my pretty car all that way with a newborn baby and half of what we own, like that I wouldn't put in the moving truck. Yeah. So I did that. That was really cool to do the auto train down to Sanford with Donnie. That was it was really the best experience about the moving. It was like 18 hours. You get on in Virginia and then you get off in Sanford and then it was just an hour drive, but they put the car in its own car, like the car in a train car. And then it's like old fashioned with little curtains and stuff. And it was pretty cool.
It's like an actual train though, right?
Yeah, no, it's like a Wild Wild West train. Like I never been, the subway trains and Amtrak are very different. So it was like a real choo-choo. I'm telling you, it had curtains and all this stuff. And Donnie was a really good baby and he would play like Goo Goo and Gaga and all the people wanted to hang out with him. I didn't even get one of the bed trains. I mean, the seats were so big. I thought maybe I made a mistake. And then I saw it wasn't crowded. It was great. It was really comfy and a good experience. So yay for the auto train, I think is by Amtrak. But, so we rented a house. I went and got my license. I've got my broker license.
Had you sold the house in Philly at this point, or you still had it as a rental?
I sold it. I sold it before we left. It was a rental for only a couple of years. I actually sold it in the little break me and Timmy had so that I could move out of that house. And then, and I got my savings back together, all that good stuff. It was sad to break up with that house, though. I really loved that house.
So then you decided to join Remax?
I decided to join Remax.
That was the first one that you found down here?
It was the first one that had a great market share. What I found, I don't know how it is in Tampa, but in Melbourne, in my MLS, there's 6,500 agents. A lot of them are broker owners. There is no distinctive market share with how many agents there were. And that's what I was looking. I was looking for the branding of a big company to build myself until I built my own brand. Yeah. And there's 5 Remaxes in my area. Remax Elite is the one that I chose. And because they had the most market share from what I could see from signs. So I spoke with KW, I spoke with my Remax, and I spoke with
Caldwell Banker?
No.
Did you ever think about Premier Sotheby's?
No.
No.
Mm-mm. There was, and like I said, I was under Vinny for so long. I never had to interview like that. My deal with Vinny was the deal that I wanted at that time. I've never spoke to somebody in Douglas Elliman. My deal was with Vinny, and my license was held by Douglas Elliman. So this was a whole new shop for me, right? Like, what do I ask? What is a good split? What am I looking for? And at the time, the brand was most important because I knew where I wanted to go. And then my broker is amazing. She's one of my best friends now. I'm very comfortable with my business and I'm a top producing agent. So I suspect that they don't want to lose me either. So, and it's a good place while I'm figuring out where Melissa wants to take her business next.
We were actually talking about this outside. Where does Melissa want to take it next? And you said multifamily syndication.
Yes.
Can we get a little bit more shed on that? What exactly is it for the viewers out there that don't know what that means?
Absolutely.
I see Grant Cardone always talking about the syndications. So.
Yes. So Grant Cardone's Grant Cardone's model is different than the model that I want to follow. I'm working with the Warrior program, which is Rod Cleef, and he's out of Sarasota. It's about 2,500 people in this group. It's pretty awesome. Look up the Warrior program. And what I'm learning is, so you don't necessarily have to be a real estate agent. You need to want to invest and you need to know how to underwrite deals and find value adds. So what I'm looking for, and by value adds? By value adds, meaning is finding an apartment complex or a commercial residential, specifically anything over 5 units is commercial residential. I'm looking for anything between 50 and 100 units that needs value adds, meaning that the driveways need to be fixed up and painted and maybe assign a parking spot to each unit so that you can add value to the rent. Maybe adding a pet policy where you can have one pet at pet rent for $25. Maybe there's plumbing and each unit could be added with washers and dryers, and there you're maximizing the rent. But you need to be specific in the area that you're looking for. What is the maximum rent that these areas are going to hold? Are there jobs in the area? Are there big ticket stores? Is there a Starbucks? Like what is in the area that's bringing people that they're going to pay top dollar, and what do you need to do to improve this unit to get that top dollar? And each deal is going to have a limited partnership and a general partnership. And the limited partnership are the legs of the deal that puts it together. A construction team, a property management team, an asset management team. And they're running day-to-day operations to put this deal together and put the value adds in it. And then you have the GP. So the LP team is raising capital for the GP, that are the investors that come in to put this money in to acquire the property, work through the loan process. And then you have a pro forma that you are going, when are you going to sell this? When is it going to maximize this money to sell it, to take to cash out, to go to the next deal, which is typically around 5 years. And in 5 years, if it's performing fantastic, you're going to hold on to it. But in the meantime, you're finding more and more deals.
And a low vacancy rate is going to also add to that, right?
Well, you want a higher vacancy rate. I think that if you're at 90%, low. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
You want 90% occupancy. Sorry, no. I think for the best loan products, and I'm still learning all this.
5% vacancy rate or something.
You want at least 90% occupancy.
Occupied, yes.
In order to get the best loan products available
for someone to purchase.
From
right. You, yeah. Well, from the group.
Or for us to purchase to even get the value add, and then to sell it. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then to sell it, you want it to be.
Well, actually, to me, it makes more sense that the property is vacant more than like say 50%. I know that's an extreme number for you to get a better deal on the property, right?
Well, it would depend. Like if it's in disarray, right, and it needs a roof and it needs this,
which means
and it
you got to
needs that.
invest more money into the repairs of the property.
But if there's no, I'm still learning this, but from what I've been researching and the people that I'm networking with, I'm finding that I've heard it both ways, right? I heard one story recently that if you had, you wanted to do all these value adds interior, that having it vacant to have the value adds done, have the people in, that might be better. The example I think was that it was a socioeconomically stressed area. And they wanted to do these value adds with all the jobs that were coming in, that they could raise the rents. And having it vacant actually worked more vacant had it worked to their benefit, because you didn't have the riffraff still living in the building. So if you're trying to do all these improvements, but there's people with a different mindset living there, that might not invite people with a better mindset to come in. Mm-hmm. So you have, I think
So it's case by case basis.
Each case by case. And I think it's really important to walk these areas, not just identify the deal, but walk the community, walk the building, meet the residents. What do they like about it? What do they not like about it? Even the
surrounding areas too, right?
Yeah, because you can possibly do all these value adds, but is somebody still going to live there?
Yeah.
They're going to have to really love where they live and like the other people that live there in order to stay. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of working parts, and there's so much I'm learning. So it's I haven't been in a deal yet, but I'm looking for a deal. There are a lot of people that I've been talking to that are willing to put in capital. And the easiest ways I'm finding into a deal is to identify the deal or have the capital. So I'm getting closer and closer. So we are going to pin this and talk to me in 6 months, because my goal is that in the next 6 months, I will be in a syndication deal.
What's the for an outside investor, what's the minimum capital requirement of investment if they want to be in a deal like this?
I would imagine $50,000, because with the syndication deal, it is regulated by the SEC. So you have to be an accredited investor and can only have a certain amount of unaccredited investors, as I understand. I think with $50,000, you can get in a deal.
And how long would that person that invests at $50,000 expect a return on their investment? Around 5 years?
About 5 years.
When the group decides to sell the property?
Yes, I think.
And what's their ROI on that? Are they looking at 20%? Or are they looking at more?
I don't think it's that high. No. Again, I'm not up to that part yet. But
this is just ballparking.
I imagine that there would be something between 7 to 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So listen, it happens every day, and people put their money in it. They're making bucket loads of money. So the return is definitely there if the deal is right.
Yes.
So I'm also very careful. I don't like to get myself into anything if I don't have a full understanding. And at this point, I don't have a full understanding yet, but I'm learning every day. My goal is to understand how to underwrite a deal. So where I'm concentrating my networking efforts right now is to find the people in this group that I joined that know how to bulletproof underwrite a deal and teach me how to do it. So I've picked, and we were talking outside about it also. Yeah. My area is a growing area. There's
asset management, right?
Yeah, but there's not a lot of multifamily opportunities in my backyard. So what I'm doing is I'm taking those deals and practicing. Right? Okay, well, let me underwrite this. I'm throwing shit at the wall.
What's gonna stick
until I figure it out? Yeah. And that's why. Give me 6 months. Yeah. I promise you, I will know, and I will have my fingers in it.
Now, also outside, you mentioned a lot of areas, but there's one area you did not mention, and that was Miami, Fort Lauderdale. And you said something that resonates with what those people in that area are experiencing, is just an inundation of investment that drives the cost up, right? Is that the reason?
I have so many, just on my residential, my business, my current business, a good portion of my people are moving out of Miami. They're moving out of South Florida. They're coming to me. In fact, I work with a lot of trades, right? So I had a plumber that was looking for 3 properties that had a huge booming business in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. I said, what are you going to do with your business? He's like, I'm going to dump it. I'm going to make so much money selling that business. I went there 50 years older man. I went there 50 years ago. I started with just me. I built this 50-employee plumbing company right now, and I watched this grow. And I know Brevard is next. So I'm going to start over right here with a small little company, start building my employees, let my kids take it over. I'm going to just buy a couple of properties now because it's coming to you. 50 years from now, but I see the growth just from 2017. Yeah. Half of the Vieira area that I was talking to you about was not built in 2017. Mm-hmm. There's 30 years left of planned building still just in that north part of my county. Palm Bay, the south part of my county, is non-HOA. It's all scattered lots. All the builders from Miami are buying it now. Just last year, there were investors having the houses built from these builders and then selling them resale, but as a brand new build in Palm Bay. All those builders now have model homes there. They're like, why are we building for these other guys to sell our product for $40,000 more when we can just maximize, put 25 houses there and just burn and churn? They're all coming, and they're beautiful.
And I think the biggest thing with Florida too was in 2020 when COVID hit, it accelerated our market by probably maybe 15 years, because we were looking at houses at 255 and now they're at 450, 500 already. And that's in a short period of time, probably about 4 years.
Yeah. No, there was
so it priced out a lot of people, people that are in the middle class. It priced them completely out. Everybody from up north came with cash and they said, waive the appraisal, waive the inspection. I'm paying it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with the real estate.
And a lot of those people.
A lot of sight unseen.
Yeah, a lot of sight unseen.
I bought my house sight unseen.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I couldn't bro, I'd walk in there, walk the house, and it was like, okay, here's the offer. And then, we already have 10 offers. So as soon as the house came on the market, I was like, Ramis, put in an offer right now. Yeah, you haven't even seen it. I was like, I saw the pictures. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, you don't have Let's get it.
Do you love your house?
Yeah, I got it.
You're lucky. Yeah. See, a lot of people.
That was in 2021. The offer was accepted April 1st, closed May 1st in 2021.
Good for you. For mine in 2022, I still paid over and I still had a
yes. I felt like the market really cooled off 2021, towards May or June.
2020. I'll tell you exactly when. 2022? March,
no, it was
May.
22.
It was like 2022.
It was 22 too.
That's when the interest rates changed. I know because I locked in on the last day before they went to 5.5.
No
and
shit.
And I got a 4.25.
That's fucking good.
Yeah, and I'm one of the. There's 2 things happening I'm seeing in that realm. So many people that bought like you sight unseen between 2020 and the end of first quarter in 2022, they don't love their home. They had to get a home.
Yeah, I don't
and they
like
had
my
to
home.
put an offer sight unseen, or they, had to go over ask. They were fighting against 25 offers, and now they're like, I don't like this house. It doesn't fit my
and they're
needs.
also down 20 or 30% on their value from when they bought it.
Yeah,
I'm not down.
Maybe more than. Well, I wouldn't say everyone.
It depends.
but it just
It's in
depends.
pockets.
I do hate
And
my
I
house though. I don't like it.
You just said you loved it.
No, I never said I loved it. I bought that house just to buy it so I could have real estate. That was it.
Yeah. Well, that two things are happening. One,
My wife loves the house.
well, then happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, that's a lie. Yeah.
The people that are selling now, there are two groups of people I'm finding. Either they can't sell because they have a 2 or 3% interest rate and they hate their house, but they can't move up, they can't
That's
change,
what I have.
or they're
I
upside
have
down.
3.25.
Yep. So
Nice.
they're most of them are not in a position to move right now, and they have to wait until they find that sweet spot where that free money, that's essentially free money, can become a portfolio property for them, and they can get another property and offset it.
There you go.
And that's my advice for all those people. Then you have the people that are like, I just needed to get here. I needed to get out of New York, California, wherever the heck they came from, right?
Yep.
Because everybody was like a political refugee also during COVID. So they just bought because they needed out. And now they are either suffering where they overbought, right? They're 50,000 to 100,000, even in some cases, over ask. And when the market evened out for the loans that they didn't have the cash to waive the appraisal or put the cash in, they have to wait out that money and they're not willing to lose it. So we have a lot of inventory right now, but I suspect that we may have another inventory problem when the people that can't move. And it's time for them to move, which is going to come up in the next 4 years.
I like it. Yeah. And then when we get back, we'll do final words with Melissa, and really appreciate having you on just to see what kind of education and motivation you can give the audience.
Absolutely.
And then one last thing, a prediction on the real estate market. Quick one. All right. So we're back with Happy Hour Holidays, and we got the expert, Melissa Horne, over here. And she's going to give us a little prediction on the real estate market, and then we'll get our final words to educate or motivate you, whatever she decides to do. What do you think Melissa is going to go on? Let's just say moving on from second quarter all the way to the fourth quarter. What are we looking at as far as the real estate market?
I personally do not think interest rates are going down. I don't think we're going to see that.
No?
Mm-mm. I don't see how. It doesn't make sense to me. I personally think the guy who was like one day, let's make the interest rates 2-3%. I think that guy should be fired. Like, why? It flooded our market. People, if they can't afford to move up naturally. So now when all these life things happen, the diapers, the diamonds, the divorce, dumpsters, when all the D's happen, where are these people going to go? The natural time for them to move, it's going to be impossible for them to do it. Very few people are going to be in the position based on, a salary to income to be able to move on and keep that house as a portfolio house that they have for 2 or 3%. Which I hope the whole world can do. I hope that you find a way. Well,
if you rent it out, right? If you can
rent it out and you can move up to the next house. Don't worry about the interest rate. You're going to build it in long-term equity. Just go on, make it a long-term wealth move for you. I think there's a lot of people that are not happy with their houses that they bought in those years also. But if they have the flexibility of financial stability, they can move up. I think there is so much inventory. There's more, and I think it's making buyers move slowly. I have 6 buyers right now that it's not the same fear, right? We're trained to get them off the fence, to influence in them to understand the best decision for them, not manipulate, but just ask the questions so that they haven't thought about, so that they can decide what's best for them and their family. There's so many choices. They are paralyzed in decision making. And I just see more and more houses coming on the market. But I also see them staying on the market because the pricing, 2 things are happening. They're pricing well above what the market can bear because the sellers haven't become realistic yet in the expectations that we are not in that market anymore. There are too many choices, but I don't think that they're all priced badly. I think that's
what I think too.
Yeah, I think that if they're in a rush and they have to move, they have no choice but to fire sale a house because of whatever the circumstances are. But I don't think that's reflective of what's happening in the market. I think the buyers are taking longer to make a decision. I think that the financial stress on some of these buyers because the interest rates are fluctuating so much. I don't find that the interest rates being higher than they were is the problem. I think that they're fluctuating so much that it's making deals cancel, right? They want the house. They're not like, I'm just not buying the house. I don't like the house anymore.
No.
They get bumped out of their financing, and then the house goes back on the market. And then there's this stigmatized, oh, there's something must be wrong with the house. It's back on the market. I have to tell you, 9 out of 10 houses are not coming back on the market because of a problem with the house. It's the problem with the financing.
Buyer financing falling through is the biggest thing I've seen on the MLS consistently right now.
Huge.
So then, so naturally, what you're saying is that the homes are going to drop in value.
They're
not going to sell.
Only for the people that really need to sell it.
Yes,
If you don't need to sell it, they're either going to take it off, stand their ground, and hope that the interest rates fall down and possibly get it.
I think in my marketplace, we're seeing it in pockets. I'm seeing neighborhoods. There's one neighborhood in particular. It's a $500,000 neighborhood that easily a year ago I could have sold anything in there that was in good condition between $5 and $550. Today,
within like 7 days.
With it, let's see, even with the market change, within 30 days.
Yeah, 30
right?
days,
Yeah,
which is still really
right now the average days on market is like 180, I think.
In my market, it goes between 90 and with the condos, the beachside condos are well over 180. But for the single family homes mainland, we're seeing around 90 days.
That's still quick.
This one neighborhood I'm talking about, though, we're probably at like 435, 450 right now.
Really?
Makes no sense. And then you have saturated new construction markets. Anything that is built in the last 2 years that is in a development that the builder still has other phases to go, you cannot sell that house. You are there between 5 and 7 years. You cannot unless you're willing to take a loss. The builders are offering rate buy downs, closing costs. You need to take just $25,000 off whatever your house is valued at right now if you want a buyer to walk through the door.
because you're not going to be able to compete with a new house.
You're not going to be able to.
I mean,
compete
even
with it.
though when it comes to new construction, you don't get light fixtures, you lose a lot. You don't have washer and dryer, refrigerator. You might think that you're getting a better deal, and that's because of the rate buy down. That's really,
Yeah.
I mean,
No, it's huge. So there are areas in my county that are just plentiful with new construction. Any of those resale sellers are going to have a very difficult time. And yes, if they choose to sell because they have to sell and they have to lower their price to that number, it's going to affect the
But
market.
you also see what new construction builders are doing is they're offering a lot of buyer credits towards things that, maybe they didn't typically do. And I think it's unrealistic for some sellers to think their house is worth as much as they thought it could be at this point in time. And hey, listen, if you bought like 2018 and you went through 2020 and the price of your home increased substantially, don't think your house is worth what it was in 2020. Understand that it's probably 100 or 200, if you're talking about $1 million homes, $100 or $200,000 cheaper than what it was.
Yes.
but I still think I agree with Melissa. People are still pricing their houses on what the comparables are. But as picky as the buyers are right now, if it's one thing, they're going, nah, not going to do it.
Yeah, because it's their market.
No,
It is there. It certainly is a buyer's market.
Yeah.
And I was taught in the beginning of my career 10 years ago that a buyer's market is 6 months of inventory. I don't think that is so. I think a buyer's market in this decade is 3 months of inventory. I've been in Florida since 2017. There has never been more pre-COVID, more than 3 months of inventory in my market ever. And now we're close to 4 months and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it with my buyers. I am a very good agent. I'm skills-based, and they just have too many choices. If there's one thing wrong with the house, we are waiting for the house to come up because next week there's going to be another 20 to choose from. And that has never happened since I've been here in 2017. And I don't think that the economists and the people, nobody's seen this market. Seasoned agents.
Back in
my
07, 08.
It was still different, though. It wasn't, you had a lot of
You
inventory.
couldn't get rid of a house back then.
You couldn't get rid of a house and everybody was upside down, but we're having our inventory problem is not based on subprime lending causing it. It's a very different cause now. So there's so many checks and balances in lending, which is why we're seeing so many houses come back on the market because you can't even a bank loan right now is like a pain in the ass to get through. There's it is so much work to get all the documentation for a loan to get to the closing table in 30 days or less. And it's still happening, but you need to really have your ducks in a row. I have a couple of miracle worker lenders, but they bust their ass to get to the closing table to make it work for the people that have a little kind of hiccups that
you're gonna have to share those with us.
Yeah.
Man, really appreciate you coming on, Melissa. It's been fantastic. What's your final words that you have to an audience? I mean, you went through New York, went through the ringer, did businesses, and now became a really successful broker, doing many, many more things. And I'm sure Melissa Horne's story is only begun. So
yeah, that's it. That's the message that I want everybody to know. Your story every day has just begun. You're just beginning. Every day is a brand new beginning. There's nothing you can't do. There's nothing I can't do. I wish, and this is a big thing for me with my children, I want them to know every single day that they can do anything that they want to do. You just have to decide to do it. And I just wish that I decided earlier to just do it. I wouldn't be me if I didn't follow the path that I did. But when I made that choice to go back to school, when my first son was born, and I opened my eyes to there's so much more I can do. I'm not saying go have a baby, but find something. Find something that makes you know your worth. That's it. That's all you have to do. Now I know my worth now, and nobody will ever take that away from me. But it took me years to realize that I had talent. And that Vinnie Martino, if you didn't bother me, man.
Hey, that's that queen sound of you right there.
Yeah, that's it. Just do it. Just do it. Inspired action, man. Take one step. And you'll find, do you know the movie Better Off Dead? That's it. That's my quote. In the 80s
I know.
Okay, because I'm an old bitch, guys. There's a movie called Better Off Dead, and it's John Cusack, and he tries all these ways to like kill himself because his girlfriend broke up with him. It's a comedy. It's really funny. And then he meets this hot French girl that lives next door, and she fixes a car for him. And he's like, "You fixed my car?" And she's like, "You'll find success suits you. Just one piece of success will build your confidence," and like throws him the keys to this Camaro that's been sitting in an auto cocoon for like ever in front of his house. And I'm like, that's it. Just that one thing. You need one little tiny piece of success, and you will find that it suits you. And just ride the wave and don't stop. And it's just momentum. That's it.
I like that.
I fucking love
I
it.
like that.
Melissa, it's been awesome, man,
Yeah.
having you on, man.
Hell
We
yeah.
really appreciate you driving all the way to Melbourne. I mean,
To Tampa.
Yeah, to Tampa. Fucking messed up on there. Reverse that. Rewind that. But no, we really appreciate you. Your story was awesome. We're really excited to release this episode. And once you guys see it, it's going to be fantastic. Thank you to all the fans that tune into us and watch our podcast and listen to us on Spotify and YouTube and everything like that.
Yeah, and if you want to be a guest, hit us up.
Yeah, we're going to continue to grow this. We want to inspire and bring motivation to you so you can make your dreams come true. Happy Hour Holidays is going to continue doing this. Peace out.